right, Joe, so what exactly is this board right now?
Okay, this board is going to be bolted to the house, and it's going to be bolted in this position. And we're going to pre-drill these holes, and this is the bolt I'll be using. And my drill bit is going to be just about a 1/16 of an inch bigger than the bolt, because you want this bolt to slide through this board.
Okay, and that's going to go anchoring up here to the wall, right in those spots where you see X marks the spot. And go all the way across from the door to the wall, right? All right. I'll do an overlay with text saying that. Got finished with the phase 1 of getting the shelving up. Anything you want to tell us about what we just did?
Okay, so what we did here was we leveled the line on the back wall here, and we bolted this ledger board to that level line. Now we bolted it with a 3.5 inch by 5/16 lag bolt, and we used a 5/16 washer in front of it. And that's creating a ledge for us to put our shelving on, and we'll show you how that goes.
Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're getting ready to actually put the anchor bolts into the ceiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to show what one is?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the eye?
No, here's the hook.
Oh, the hook, okay.
The hook style.
The hook style. So this is what it's going to look like. And Joe, what size are these? These are 5/16 by 4 inch lag thread screw hook bolts. And you're going to go ahead and do what? Anchor them on the...
onto the floor beams up above.
On the floor beams up above.
So we're going to drill a hole 1/8 inch smaller than the lag, and then we'll screw that lag into that hole.
And that's what the chains are going to hang off of. Okay, cool. We'll get you back in. Okay, you done with that? Okay, so now how deep did you screw that in?
I screwed it in until all the threads disappear.
Okay, so you can't see any more threads. And then how far apart are you going to space these? How many are you going to do? This is 19 feet we're going in spans?
Yep, I'm going to space it 32 inches on center, so that'll be every other ceiling beam.
Every other ceiling beam, so we'll have about 5.
At 39.5 inches, and we're going to drill our hole right at that crosshair.
Okay, so we just finished putting the eye bolts in, as you can see, the spacing. They're all facing out. And that completes that step of the project. Okay, Joe, we just finished putting the eye bolts up in the ceiling. Now what's the next step? What are we doing here?
Okay, now we're gonna screw this piece of 2x6 to the bottom of this piece of OSB board. And you can always tell the OSB, there's a smoother side to it and there's a rougher side to it. So obviously the smoother side is gonna be on top.
That's what you're going to put your storage stuff, your boxes and stuff on top of that.
On top.
Okay, so the bottom will be actually attached to the 2x6.
Okay, so we're gonna screw this 2x6 board to the bottom of the shelving area, and what we've done is we've laid it out so it's 39.5 inches to the center of the board, which will line up with the hooks that we put on the ceiling.
And the 39.5 inches is coming from?
From where the wall is going to be, coming out into the garage.
Okay, and then there's the board underneath, and that's how you're going to screw straight through.
Right, so we're going to use an 1 5/8 drywall screw, and we'll put about 6 of these going right down the center of this board.
Okay, so we've hit at a very important stage now of getting the hooks lined up. So you want to explain what we're doing here?
Okay, I've screwed a 12-foot long 2x6 to the bottom of this shelf. And now I'm going to measure 39.5 inches, which is what our hooks are at, to the center of this board. And we're going to snap a line down this sheet of plywood at 39.5 inches.
And when you say snap line, it's a chalk line.
Right.
Okay.
For the record, I've never used a chalk line.
So, I'm the perfect Ask Joe the Builder candidate here.
Okay, so
Yep, we're on.
okay, so you're going to take the chalk line, you're going to wrap it around your finger, and your thumb is what's going to push on the line.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So, wrap it around my finger. And my thumb is going to push right here.
I'm going to pull tight on my side.
Okay, I'm on the line.
Only one snap.
Okay, so here's our chalk line. As you can see, that is easy peasy. Gives us a straight perfect line. Now all we got to do is measure out the spacing of the hooks, and we'll be able to get this thing
Okay,
taken
so
off.
we've got our hooks in place. We know we're 39.5 inches off the back wall, but we don't know our dimension coming off of this wall. So if we measure it here, we come up with a 44 3/4 to the center of the bolt. And we're going to bring that measurement down along the snap line. That's chalk, 44 3/4. And that's all right. That's what we're going to draw first. Okay, so this is a 3.5 inch threaded eyelet bolt, and this is what we're going to stick up through that hole that'll hold this ceiling. Off the floor, we've got our bolts in place. They're going to go into the top of the board through. We're going to push it right through. We've got a fender washer. That'll go on the bottom there. And we'll screw the nut onto that. That'll be our first.
All right, Joe, now you've said something very important here that anybody who's watching needs to really make note here as far as getting the chain links properly measured. So what things do they need to take into account?
Okay, so we've installed our eyelet and tightened it down with a nut. The next thing will be the S-hook. The S-hook will connect into that, and the chain will loop into that S-hook. So we have to take a measurement from the top of this board to the top of that S-hook to deduct for the amount of the chain. And in this particular case, it's 2.5 inches.
Okay.
So we've taken 2.5 inches off the bottom. Our eye hook coming down is 1.5 inches off the ceiling. So
And then the board as well.
is another 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
So our total deduction for this project is 5.5 inches that we deduct off the chain from the ceiling to the top of the ledger.
Okay, from the ceiling to the top of the ledger board. Joe, you want to get up there and real quick and just point to it? Okay.
Okay, that dimension is 25.5 inches.
So it's 25.5 inches. So we need to take 5 inches off of that to get the length of the chain, right? So the chain is going to measure
20 inches.
20 inches, and that gives us 20.5 inches. So that board will sit right on that ledge, and it will hang enough from the ceiling. So it'll give us enough room. Okay, so it's very important. It's going to save you about a half a day's work if you can just make sure that you get the chain measured out and take into account the spacing for the hooks that it connects to.
As you can see, we've hooked the first one in, and now the second one just hooks with your S hook, lift it up right through the eyelet, tension's tight. If you need a little bit of adjustment on this chain, you can turn this screw up or down to make the chain longer or shorter.
Okay, and then I want to point out too that you did screw in the back
Right, we did put several screws along the back ledger board.
to just hold it in place, give it a little more added support, and you did it on either side on that wall down there too.
Correct.
Okay,
Second
great,
board up,
awesome.
we have our first two hooks. Now we need to locate where we're going to drill this hole for this third chain. So what I can do is just take a level and just plumb down from that hook on the ceiling, and I make a mark on the board right here, and that's how I get this location.
Okay.
But this 2x6 was screwed into the first board and it hung over halfway into the second board. So we need to finish the length of this 2x6. So what we're going to do is just take a tape measure and measure to the side of that ledger board, measure to here, 85 1/4 is our number, and that's how we'll cut the next 2x6.
Go ahead.
Okay, we've made a mark at 85 1/4 on our 2x6. We take our speed square, make a mark, and we cut it down. 2 full sheets of plywood down to this point. We're at the very end here now. We'll just have to take our measurements to cut this last board. Okay, so we've come to the point where we're installing the last chain. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pick this up to hook this. So this one's going to have to be installed from the top down. So we drilled a hole. We're going to hook the eyelet on the S hook and push it down through the hole. And from the bottom here, we'll put the nut on. So as you can see, our storage unit is complete. We've done it in about 4 hours. And if you have any questions, just send us a comment.